Abieza's expedition. One day, there lived a girl called Abieza. She is an Indonesian living in Japan, and she has brown hair, a straight nose, and a really pretty smile. But not only that, she has a really outgoing and ambitious personality. She is an Indonesian living in Japan, and she has lived in Japan since she was 4 years old. Even though she is an Indonesian living in Japan, she still has a lot of friends. One gloomy day, a representative from the government was making a speech broadcast on TV. They decided not to let any other cultures and other languages into Japan. This news made Abieza and her family shocked, and because of that, Abieza decided to text her friends about this news, but her friends just told her to shrug it off and let it go. And Abieza, okay, she agreed. And in the following week, no one really took this news seriously. But one Thursday, when she was coming home from school, she saw her parents. Her parents looked shocked, and they looked pale. So she decided to ask her parents what's wrong, but before her parents got a chance to respond, she saw the TV. There was a foreigner getting kicked out of Japan because they were spreading their culture and their language into the people of Japan. And because of this, she was so scared that she would get kicked out. So her parents and Abieza and her parents said to stop talking Indonesian for a while. But after a while, Abieza thought this was starting to get ridiculous. So she decided to form a little club that's made out of people from her school. So she decided to gather people from her school first, and she got about 2 people, Kenji and Aya. At first, Aya didn't really agree with this plan, but Kenji decided to go through with it, and they both went through with it because they all wanted to preserve their culture. And then their club started growing, but there was this girl called Kaya that was always trying to ruin their plans whatsoever. So, and started spreading rumors about Abieza, and Abieza got sad, but she let it go. But one day, Kaya wanted to join their club, and Abieza was suspicious, but she let it go. But ever since Kayo joined the meeting, the rumors about Abieza stopped. So that's why Abieza now trusts Kayo. But one day, Kayo wants to record the meeting, and Abieza and Aya were confused why she would want to do that. But because Abieza trusts Kayo, she let Kayo do it. And because of that, now Kayo has about 50 recordings of this meeting. One day, Kayo didn't join their meeting, and Abieza was surprised. She decided to corner Kayo on Monday because she didn't attend their meetings the following days. So she decided to corner her and ask her why she isn't coming. And Kayo just got mad, and this made Abieza weirded out. So the next day, when Kayo didn't join, she let it slide because she thinks, Kayo probably doesn't want to join the club anymore. But one day, Abieza got a call from the cabinet office asking her to come over. She said okay, but she didn't tell this news to anyone. She decided to keep it with herself. And on the day she had to come to the cabinet office, she just told Kenji and Aya that she had to go because of a family emergency. When she arrived at the cabinet office, she met a lady named Mrs. Mai. Mrs. Mai told her she was there because of the club she made, and told her to take it down immediately because it was a form of rebellion. But Abieza didn't want to because she was trying to preserve her culture. So she kept on asking her, why do I need to do this? And Mrs. Mai just kept on saying, "You gotta do this because it's breaking the law." And then, but then Abiaza decided, "But I want to make an agreement with the government. Maybe I could make a change." Mrs. Mai, seeing Abiaza's dedication, she decided to plan a meeting, and she was gonna let Abiaza know about. She's gonna let Abiaza know, and then she was gonna contact her later on. The next following days, Abiaza was just waiting for the call, and sure enough, Mrs. Mai called her and said she had an opening on Sunday and she should come over to the cabinet office to discuss this matter. She decided to come to the cabinet office at following Sunday, talk about this matter with the government, and she decided to tell why she wants to do this, because she wants to preserve her culture. And the government decided just to plan meetings with her every Sunday from that. And every Sunday she would come to the cabinet office and try to defend her argument, and she wanted to preserve her culture and continue her club, and try to make a resolution with the government to maybe stop this whole thing. And she came to the cabinet office every Sunday. But one Sunday, the Prime Minister was there. Abiaza was shocked, but because the Prime Minister was there, Abiaza decided to defend her argument even more and step up her game. Abiaza talked with the Prime Minister a lot, and the Prime Minister decided maybe they are being kind of ridiculous. So they decided to let Abiaza, to listen to Abiaza, and surprisingly, the Prime Minister agreed on what Abiaza had to say. So then they both made a resolution with each other, and the Prime Minister decided that they were gonna uplift the ban from other cultures and languages coming into Japan. So after that, Abiaza left, and she told her family and friends, and they were also excited for her. But not only that, Kayo even came up to her and asked for forgiveness and even asked if they could be friends because of what she did, because she had felt guilty about all the things she had did, even though Kayo doesn't know that the government was willing to uplift the ban of other cultures.
Hello, I'm Shalimar, and in this video I will do recording for the final published narrative fiction. So the title of the story that I created is called The Memory Passer. So here we go, the beginning. My name is Michael. I'm just a normal teenager boy on my 16. Now you might be wondering, what happened? So, it all started when I wake up. As I wake up from my sleep, a gathering was announced and my name was called to attend the gathering. As I attend the gathering, I was excited to see that it's my first time. As it's my first time to meet the keeper face to face. The keepers of time, or keepers for short, are a group of people who form this group ever since we are hunted by him who they call William. Nevertheless, I was excited as they offered me a mission. But unfortunately, I wasn't expecting that my mission would be different than I was expected for it to be. As I listened to the keepers, one of the keepers says, "Michael, as a member of the keepers, I shall send you to a mission to pass an ancient knowledge for the world to see." As he said that, my whole body froze. My heart skipped a beat as a robot gave me a small chill. What have I signed up for? After that, Michael is shocked when he hears this, as he feels like he was not ready for the task. However, one of the keepers says that he is already ready to accomplish it. One of them even says to Michael he must keep going because if he does so, he'll meet allies and even be able to accomplish the mission. As Michael leaves the place, a spy watches him and contacts someone named William and tell him a boy named Michael is chosen to pass the ancient knowledge. Hearing this, William placed a bounty on Michael's head with the price of $14 million. As Michael, after this, after William placed the bounty, Michael is chased by a group of people. And while Michael was chased by a group of people, a girl aids him by asking him to hold her hand, and she grapples away to the top of a building as they attempt to escape from the crowd of people, especially bounty hunters. After they already lose the crowd, Michael asks the girl, "Who is your name?" She turned and replied with, "My name is Fumiko." Michael and Fumiko engage in some friendly conversations, and as Fumiko asks why Michael is so stressed, Michael immediately snaps out and says he just doesn't feel like he's ready. He just feels like he's too advanced and he doesn't feel he's worthy for this mission. Fumiko feels bad after she hears this. She comforts Michael by saying that she also feels the same way. As she replies, "You're not alone, Michael. In fact, I also experienced it too once." Michael calms down and smiles at Fumiko as he replies, "Thank you," before he hugs her. After this, Michael and Fumiko work together to deliver the ancient knowledge. As this happens, William became more desperate as he increases the amount of bounty for Michael and Fumiko. However, with both of them teaming up, they are able to take down multiple bounty hunters. And finally, in the end, they're able to plant the small chip to a computer and plant the whole, like, the ancient knowledge for the whole world to see the truth. And in the end, the truth has been revealed. The ancient knowledge is revealed to the whole world, and William is revealed to have been the one behind all of this. The reason he made those ancient knowledge forgotten. After the truth has been revealed, William is sentenced to prison in life. As for Michael and Fumiko, both of them start dating, and the story ends here. Sorry, but I'm not gonna tell you what happened to Michael and Fumiko later. And that might probably never happen. So, thank you, Miss Rainbow, for listening.
Hi, my name is Alice, and today I'm going to be reading my narrative story called The Clock Hits 1942. The manager called me on one stormy evening. I had just finished burning a dish. Today is surely a pesky day, I thought to myself. I stormed out of the kitchen and walked towards my manager's office. I knocked on the door and was greeted by his bitter beer face. "Hello, sir. You asked for me earlier?" I asked in the most ladylike voice my esophagus can make. "I did. Chef Hayonisa, how do you expect to get a promotion to head chef if you can't even cook traditional food? You should be able to show diversity in your cooking," he said bitterly. I stayed quiet because I know what he said is right, and I can't argue with him. I muted his voice in my head, and time passed by as slowly as a slug. After an hour, I finally heard the magic words. "Don't forget what I said. You could go now." I got out of his office while non-stop apologizing. The clock finally hit 6 o'clock, and I could go home and rest. I usually took public transportation home to save myself the trouble of walking, but tonight I wanted to enjoy the full moon, so I used my headphones and listened to my playlist on my way home. It wasn't a long walking distance, but it was not a short one either. It was around a 30-minute walk or 2 kilometers. On my way home, I kept thinking about how I could get through this obstacle in my cooking journey. It sounds trivial, but it means a whole lot to me because it has always been my dream to be a wonderful chef. I am finally in front of my front door. I immediately went up to my room and buried myself in my bed. I woke up to a slight knock on my attic. I planned to ignore it because I would like to enjoy my weekends and sleep till the birds are no longer chirping. But it was a repetitive knock, so I decided to get out of my bed and check it out. I was not scared of spirits, but was rather scared of intruders. I gathered my courage and walked towards my attic stairs. As soon as I arrived at the front door, I thought about the endless possibilities of what could be waiting on the other side and lost my courage. I ran back to my warm bed that had been waiting for my arrival and fulfilled my desire to sleep till noon. The chirping birds were no longer the reason for me to be aroused, but rather my yearning for food. I decided to make myself a quick breakfast of eggs and toast and red velvet cake I bought from a bakery not long ago. While enjoying my sunny side up, I remembered the knock on the attic and decided to check it out. No sane person would wait for me in my attic anyway. After gulping my last drop of milk, I headed to the attic stairs and found nothing abnormal. Maybe it was a cat? I scanned the attic to find any abnormalities, but then a leather-covered book caught my attention. I did not remember having a leather-covered book, but maybe my mom packed it in my moving boxes for me. I approached the book and was pleasantly surprised to find a recipe book filled with Indonesian traditional food, and one recipe piqued my interest. It was a rawon recipe. When reading the ingredients, I found myself grinning even more when I found out that I had all the ingredients needed to cook this dish, and I eventually headed to the kitchen. I gathered all the ingredients needed, and my kitchen counter was covered with beef, cooking oil, shallots, garlic, coriander seeds, candlenut, and kaluak. I tied my brown locks in a messy bun, and after an hour of non-stop cooking, I finalized the rawon with some parsley. And tada! The scent of rawon filled the kitchen. I took a quick sip of the broth and drank the final drop of broth without realizing it. I found myself sleepy after devouring the delicious dish I made. I walked myself to the bed and snuggled in my blanket, leaving a rawon scent in my blanket. I woke up in a classical home made out of wooden board. Where am I? I started panicking as I woke up in an unfamiliar house. I started exploring the house, but I did not find any sense of living. I was in a state of pure panic. I went back to the place I woke up in and found a note. Khairunisa, you have been teleported to the 1942. I have been waiting for your arrival ever since you're not even here yet. Your purpose here is to save your great-grandma, Sumiati. As I read the last sentence, I saw a picture of a girl in her late 20s. She does look like grandma. I decided to get a whiff of fresh air. As soon as I got out, I was immediately greeted by a lady wearing kabaya and a teddy bun. Though I am fully aware that I don't belong here, I know that the lady is my aunt. Dekai, kapan lagi nemenin Banur petik cabai di kebun? Banur kangen ah Dekai, she said, smiling and holding a bucket of chili. Lusa ya mbak, I said, replying to her, still standing in front of the door. After getting some fresh air, I turned my back and was heading inside until I heard, Selamat pagi Mbak Sumiati. I froze hearing those four words. I ran towards the source of that voice, and two pairs of dainty eyes met mine, but her long locks and fine body captured my attention more. She approached me and said, Selamat pagi. I was mesmerized by the way she walked, talked, and acted. Selamat pagi, Mbak Sumiati, I stuttered. I did not know how to react, but forced a voice out of my esophagus. She did not even glance at me twice while I was scanning her entire existence, without realizing I had held my breath the entire time. My days passed by in a blink of an eye, not getting anywhere closer to my goal. I had not encountered those mesmerizing eyes ever since. It felt like the universe was not on my side. I spent my days in a daze, depressed, not able to open up to anyone about my frustration. It had been 2 weeks ever since I was trapped in this universe. The only reason I could keep in track is because of the tally I kept. Every passing day, a new line has been added to the gallery. In the wooden boards, there are 16 lines covering the wall beside my bed. It is currently day 19 and is my grocery shopping schedule. But Nur gives me an allowance every once in a while. She is aware of my financial condition, though I've never opened up to her. I was walking to the market near my house. The atmosphere was hectic with people bargaining left and right and the crashing voices of merchants promoting their merchandise. The difference between the modern grocery store that I was used to and the market is notable. The difference in the atmosphere and hygiene. The allowance I received from Banur is 20,000 rupiahs, which is enough to keep me fed for a while. After a quarter an hour, my bag was jammed with fish, carrots, seasoning, eggs, and flour. I watched the rich transport using carts that I used to think were tacky and old-fashioned. Now I could only watch in awe seeking it. I walked my way home toasted by the burning sun while my shoulders ached from the heavy bag. I noticed a pair of eyes watching me from afar. I know him. We exchange greetings whenever we come across each other, but little does he know I struck a fancy for him. Siang Kai, baru belanja, he said, flashing me with his bright smile that could light up this whole town. Siang Mas Aditya, iya mas baru pulang dari pasar. He then looked at me nervously for a few seconds. I did not feel a surge of awkwardness at all, but was rather happy I could admire his curly hair and tan skin this close. Dia kaya Nisa. Nanti sore mau ikut Mas ke kota. Kalau tidak mau nggak apa-apa. Mas hanya ingin menjelajah kota Bandung sore ini. My heart burst out of my chest and my face is covered by my blush. Boleh Mas, aku sore ini juga tidak ada urusan. Nanti Mas jemput kamu di depan rumah kamu ya jam 5. Dandan ya, dadah cantik. He said running but still remaining eye contact with him. He's so cute. I ran home taking no notice of the ache in my shoulder. The clock shows it was 15:55. Do I even have time? I quickly changed my outfit to a short sleeve full.
Um, so today I will be reading my story that I wrote, and the name of the story is The Mysterious Village. Okay, so I will read this. Akio and his friends were on vacation in Bali, and they all saw a viral video that showed the dead village in Hokkaido. Guys, wanna go there? Akio said. Then his friends said sure. They all wanted to go there, so they planned what they wanted to do there. After they planned, they booked a plane ticket to Tokyo. They returned to Jakarta to board a bigger plane. In Tokyo, to Tokyo. After landing at Soekarno-Hatta International Airport, they transferred to another plane to Tokyo. After a 10-hour flight, the plane encountered a problem. The problem the plane that Akio and his friends were flying had problem because the weather was not conducive to land. So the plane was delayed in landing, and they had to wait 1 more hour to land. So after an hour in the air, they safely landed in Tokyo at 3 a.m. After they took their bags, Akio said to his friends, Should we rush? I'm so tired, guys. They all decided to rush at the accommodation at the airport to wait for the bullet train. Then the morning came, and they went to the train station to ride the bullet train. After a 4-hour ride, they arrived in Hokkaido. They all booked a hotel to rest and to put on their bags. They packed their most important belongings like laptops, camera, and food in their backpacks. Akio told Michi to bring more food, but Michi said that they only had what was left in their bag. So they needed to stop at the mini mart to buy more food after. So after they bought the food they needed, they continued hiking to the village. 2 hours of hiking, they all finally made it to the village, and they immediately assembled the tent near a small river around the village, because they needed to secure a space for them just in case the weather turns really bad. They all agreed to test their courage. They went to the village and they entered a house, and the village name is Minakami Village. So they went around inside, and the deeper they went, the stronger they felt drastic changes of the atmosphere, making the surroundings start to feel very eerily scary. And sure enough, they saw a figure crying inside the house, wearing blue clothes. The figure was sitting on the floor, hugging their knees on the corner of the living room. Akio came hunch the to the hunch figure to check the figure. And as Akio got closer to touch their shoulder, the figure suddenly collapsed and didn't move at all. Akio and his friends were scared, panicked. They bolted out of the house, hurried to go back to the tent and zip it close. Inside the tent, they saw something like a shadow figure walking closer to their tent, and the shadowy figure approached their tent faster. Michi and Budi, who were inside the tent, went pale, so they unzipped the tent and ran away, leaving his friends behind. They went down and ran in the direction of the town. Akio and Bayu also followed, because they were also scared. Akio and Bayu ran as fast as they could without looking back. And while Akio panting hard and tried to regulate his breath, Akio noticed that Michi and Budi, who was already ran first, are not there with them. So Akio also asked the police officer before they went, they report to the police officer. They already arrived there, and they uh, asked the officer to find his two friends. The next day, the police teamed up to find Michi and Bayu, because they could not do it last night. Akio and Bayu spent their night sleeping in the police station. When they woke up, it is already noon, and the police officer said that they could not find Michi and Budi. Although Akio and Bayu has given detailed directions about them, the police officer also mentioned that they have looked at the tent and the area around it, then concluded that there are no village near their camping ground. The police officer also said that they even used the dog to help getting more clues about the two missing friends. After this incident, Akio accompanied Bayu to go back to the airport and waited there until he departed to Jakarta, while Akio went back to his home. From then on, something has changed. Akio didn't dare to play in any games that testing his courage anymore. A year later, Akio visited Bayu again at Jakarta. As they ate lunch at the steakhouse, Akio informed that the police officer had stated formally that Michi and Bayu disappeared and their bodies could not be found. Okay, that is all for the story I wrote. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Yongi, and today I'm gonna tell you about my story named Ronald's Cultural Turtle and the Sleepover. So one day, in the future, in 2026, there was a boy named Ronald Tabi Gocho. He lived in an apartment building in Jakarta with his family. Ronald loved his culture and always wore traditional clothes. Even the other kids didn't. His family told him to be proud of who he was, and one afternoon, Ronald checked his phone and saw a message from his friends Ito Suzuki and Lahita Mabudi inviting him to a sleepover. Ronald was super excited and he packed his bag, grabbed some of his snack, and walked over to Ito's house. When Ronald arrived, Ito and Lahitam greeted him warmly. They started playing games and laughing, and everything seems great. But as the evening went on, things changed. Ito started making jokes about Ronald's culture and teased him about his clothes and food his family ate. Lahitam joined in, and together they called Ronald's names like Black and laughing at him. At first, Ronald tried to ignore them, but their words hurt more and more. Eventually, he couldn't hold back his feeling and ran to the bathroom crying. While Ronald in the bathroom, Ito and Lahitam realized he had gone too far and felt terrible. When they thought about how they made their friend cry, Ronald returned with his face red from crying. He stood in front of them and said, "It really hurts when you make fun of me like that. I love my culture, and it's not okay to call me names." Ito and Lahitam looked at each other, ashamed, and Ito said, "We're sorry, Ronald. We thought it was a joke. It was just a joke. We understand now, and it wasn't funny." Lahitam added, "Yo, we are really sorry. You're our now. That wasn't funny. Eh, yeah, we're really sorry. You're our friend, and we should never made fun of you, and we should never have made you feel bad." The room grew quiet, but Ronald smiled a little. He saw that they meant their apology. "Okay," he said, "just don't do it again. My culture is really important to me." The three of them sat down back together, and Lahitam said, "Why don't we eat the snack that you brought?" Ronald opened his bag, and they all shared the snacks, talking about other things. From the night on, Ito and Lahitam never teased Ronald about his culture again. In fact, they became curious and asked him to teach them more about Ronald. Felt proud that he stood up for himself, that he stood up for himself, and that his friends had learned to respect him. The next morning, when Ronald went home, he felt happy knowing he could be himself around his friends. Thank you, and that's all from me.
Yeah!